Alright you guys, what's happening? Welcome back to another reaction video. We're here to talk about the Aberdeen game from Friday night against Hibs. A 1-0 win, our fourth win on the bounce, so definitely a very, very good run we're on at the moment. Before we get to that, we've got a wee bit of a new setup here. As you can probably tell, I'm not at home. I uploaded an episode of the Aberdeen Adventure earlier and it took literally about 4.5 hours to upload. The upload speeds here are absolutely dreadful, so I'm going to keep this reasonably short, otherwise it'll not be uploaded till about 3 in the morning. Aberdeen 1, Hibs 0. I thought overall we deserved the points tonight. I thought Aberdeen were pretty good over the piece. For this game, I think we can actually pretty much ignore the first half hour of the game. There was nothing going on. The conditions weren't great. This wind was swirling all night. It was pretty horrible. There was a header by Mark Milligan that Logan cleared about 4 yards for goal. That was honestly about all Hibs done in the first half. But to be honest, first half hour we weren't really up to much, and then we started growing into the game. The big part was when we actually started to get the ball down ourselves, because we bypassed the midfield a lot in the first 20-25 minutes, which was a wee bit frustrating, to be honest. But when we stopped doing that, it really got Lewis Ferguson into the game, and honestly I thought Lewis Ferguson was absolutely tremendous tonight. Like I say, first 20-25 minutes he was a wee bit quiet because the ball was going over his head. He was excellent tonight. I thought his first touch at times was fantastic. I thought his distribution was excellent. He is so calm for a 19-year-old playing in the middle of the park that he just dictates the pace of the game, and I really like that. You know, he's the guy who slows the game right down when it gets a bit frenetic. He's the guy that can pick up the pace and spring a pass when we're looking to break at pace, and I love that about him. I think his move from that sort of advanced, maybe number 10 role back into the middle of the park has been absolutely amazing. So we've scored the first goal of the game about 5 minutes before half time, and I think you can look at this two ways. Poor goal for Hibs to concede, if we're being honest. I think it's Porteous who's had a stinker all game, to be honest. He's passed the ball to Lewis Stevenson, it's under hit, and Gary Mackay-Steven has reacted quickly, taking the ball off him. He's taken a couple of touches forward, and from 20 yards out he's just leathered it in the bottom corner. A really, really good finish as well. And I sometimes like that, because Mackay-Steven in that situation could have probably taken it forward another 5 or 10 yards, tried to drag the goalkeeper out. But sometimes when you take it forward like that and then you hit it early, good things can happen, and he's just lashed it into the bottom corner. And to be honest, from that point on till half time, the 5-6 minutes, whatever it was, Hibs were hanging on. Unfortunately for us, half time came and we couldn't add to it. And coming out of the second half, I didn't think we came out with the same energy, to be honest. I didn't think we were poor by any stretch of the imagination, but Hibs started to come in the game more. They started to get the ball down a bit, and they created a few chances, but they did look like a team out of form. Their final ball was lacking, and then when their final ball was there, guys weren't making the right runs. You know, one of those situations where like just nothing's coming off for you, and we've seen that with Aberdeen at times this season. And to be honest, that was what Hibs looked a wee bit like tonight. We did have a couple of hairy moments. There was the time the ball was played over the top. Lewis came steaming out his goal and been rounded by Canberry. Canberry shows a wee bit of composure there, and he rolls it into the net, but instead he's hacked at it and it's gone miles over the bar. The one when the cross came in, I think it was Canberry again actually. Boyle's put in a great ball for the right, and Canberry's got free and just not got his feet right. So we did have a couple of let-offs in that half. And right at the end as well, I thought that the one where I think Niall McGinn's poked it out for a corner, just the ball when he set down for Boyle. And if that sits down and Boyle gets a crack at that, that could be one each. Over the last 4 games, we've played Rangers, we've played Hamilton, we've played Kilmarnock, and we've played Hibs, and we've conceded 1 goal. And it was a penalty. A stupid penalty at Kilmarnock, but a penalty nonetheless. And I think that Scott McKenna and Mikey Devlin, since Scott McKenna came back for injury, to be honest, I think Scott McKenna has been absolutely tremendous, and I thought he was fantastic tonight. I thought him and Mikey Devlin had fantastic games again as a partnership. I thought Max Lowe, to be honest, he hasn't been great defensively, despite the fact he's very, very good going forward. But I thought he had one of his better defensive games tonight. Martin Boyle was never in the game, bar that one cross that Canberry sclaffed at. Ferguson, I thought, was absolutely tremendous. Like I say, I thought Ferguson was the best player in the park. Mackay-Steven's taken his goal well, and overall just been a threat. Mackay-Steven fucking hates the Hibs. It's amazing how he plays. He probably wishes he could play Hibs every week. McGinn's dead ball deliveries were pretty good at times, pretty ropey at other times, but he was always a threat. I thought Stevie May had his best game in a while. Not that he was too much of an attacking threat, but one of the reasons I think Hibs really struggled to get the ball down and play football was because when they had the ball at the back, May was just constantly haranguing them and pressing them high up the park. And the way he was doing it was making them just have to distribute long, which was excellent. He never allowed their defenders to settle down. And that was the mistake we made in the League Cup game, actually. We allowed their defenders to settle down on the ball, march forward with it, and then pick out short passes. Whereas May, particularly May, Wilson at times pressed them high up the park. And I thought that made a massive difference tonight. It meant that Hibs didn't really retain the ball very well. And yeah, I thought May had a really, really good game despite not being a massive attacking threat. I actually think tonight there was little periods, particularly towards the end of the first half and maybe midway through the second half, where we played our best football in a long time. I was really, really happy with some of the football we played. We have been very one-dimensional at times going forward, but we saw a little bit more confidence in the boys tonight, and I thought that was definitely a positive. So hopefully that is something we can build to take to Motherwell in a couple of weeks. Motherwell away, that's our only game between now and the cup final, so it's going to be a bit strange where we've got 3 weeks with only one game. I'll be at Fir Park. I think that Motherwell, to be honest, haven't been playing great this season. I think, kind of going back to something I said, I think on the last video on the Kilmarnock game, that Motherwell have had a couple of wins recently, but I think they beat Hamilton and they beat St Mirren, and I think a lot of teams will beat those teams and think, oh, here we go, we're turning things around. And it's not really the case. I just think there's a big gap between the top 9 and the bottom 3 this year, to be totally honest. Much bigger gap to Dundee and St Mirren, definitely, but Hamilton aren't a great side either. If we keep playing like a team like we have over the past few weeks, specifically in games like tonight where we battled, we were resolute, we were good going forward, I think we'll be all right. But that's going to be an interesting game in itself, because obviously it's going to be the last game before the cup final. People are going to be playing for places. I think it's really hard to make a case for anybody in that side at the moment to be left out. I think the only guy who's really under any threat for the Motherwell game is probably Max Lowe, because Considine was on the bench tonight, and I wonder, just with being an away game, if Considine is fully fit, if McInnes might decide to go with Considine at left back instead of Lowe. But to be honest, that's about the only change you could really justify at the moment, unless you wanted to argue for someone like Bruce Anderson in, which is obviously a very fair argument, but we'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks. But 4 wins out of 4, really good run over the past couple of weeks, sets us up nicely for this international break. Unfortunately, we have to spend the international break watching Scotland, but what the fuck can you do? So we'll wrap up just now. I want this to be short so the upload doesn't take fucking forever. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please hit the red button below. Any subscription would be much appreciated. I've been trying to build this channel, and it is slowly, nicely ticking along, so hopefully we can keep it going that way. Like the video as well if you enjoyed it. It really helps me get it out there. I've been QMJ, and I will talk to you again sometime.